So wow, this is going to be an interesting panel discussion for me. I'll try to make this quick. So I'm probably the only non-scientist here. I think I was telling someone earlier, my last science class was an astronomy class that I thought was astrology. So read the course descriptions when you do get to college. That's just a word to the wise. I'm actually, I went to school for accounting. I went to Suffolk University, went to school for accounting. Came out, did one day of accounting, and decided I don't want to do this either. And took the initiative, went to the recruiter, and they put me in something called strategic consulting. So for 4 or 5 years, I actually did strategic consulting with Deloitte and with PricewaterhouseCoopers. After traveling the country and the globe doing strategic consulting, I decided I needed a change, and I didn't know what that change would be. And I received a phone call from a recruiter who said, "We have this biotech company called Amgen. Would you like to come in and take an interview?" And after I explained to them my background and what I'm good at, I actually accepted the interview. I was really blown away by the culture and the personality of the people at Amgen and the industry. I've been there now almost 10 years. My job has taken me from the finance side of the house to operations to construction to now R&D. I'm actually here in the Cambridge site in the research facility. I act as the chief of staff for our site head, as well as do community relations and corporate communications in the Massachusetts area for Amgen. I was able to work in the Ireland program that we had going on a few years back, and it's just been a fun ride. What I would just recommend is, for all of you, is if there's something you want to do, just ask for it, because you'd be surprised what you can actually get. So that's it.
Hi, my name is Mlady. I grew up here in Northborough, and I attended the University of Wisconsin after I graduated from high school. And during my time at the university, I was part of a PhD's project and essentially shadowed her for about 2.5 years during my undergraduate degree to learn about what you do in science and really get some hands-on lab experience within the sciences. And on top of that, I also chose a major that was very lab intensive. My major was bacteriology, and I spent a lot of time in the lab learning about all the different things that I hope to do in industry when I graduated. Upon graduation, I started a small biotech company here in the Massachusetts area, and really learned a lot about biotech and drug discovery, and started from developing assays and moved into some cell biology, which I really hadn't done much of before, and ultimately ended up at Amgen. I've been at Amgen for 5 years now, and I've continued working with cell biology, and it's one of the things that I really enjoy about science. And there's just so many different disciplines within science, and you have to choose the thing that you enjoy. And that's it.
Hi, I'm Dave Wagner. I'm currently at Cubis Pharmaceuticals, and I'm from Minnesota, so I never got the opportunity to come to something sponsored by Mass Bioed. This is really cool. I wish I was in your places a few years ago. In high school, I took a lot of science courses, and that's kind of where I got into sciences. I had a couple of great teachers in math and physics that really pushed me for that. I went to Boston College for undergraduate, and I majored in biology with a minor in environmental studies. Something I'd recommend that I did was I got into research early. I got into the labs, and I found out that I actually liked it. I had a lot of friends that took one lab and decided that it was not the major for them anymore. I did some work with yeast, oxidative stress, so antioxidants and things like that. And then my junior into senior year, I got an internship at Cubis Pharmaceuticals. And I was doing something completely different. I was working with bacteria and trying to grow them and see if they make antibiotics. When I graduated, I was still interning at Cubis, so I was the longest intern there. It was over a year, and they finally decided that they wanted to hire me. But I ended up doing something completely different again. I'm working with PK work, in vitro PK, so that's how drugs are metabolized, and the in vitro means that I'm doing it in test tubes instead of in animals. So I look at how liver enzymes metabolize drugs without using the animals. And I had no idea I was going to do this until they offered me the job. I was looking everywhere, and I had no idea. I had no idea that I was going to do the internship at Cubist. But I just knew that I like science, I like biology, and I just kind of ended up where I am now.
Excuse me. So I'm Frank Dolan, currently Senior Vice President of a company called MedPanel out of Cambridge. I'll give you my quick background. So I'm from Hamden, Mass. Originally, small town, west of Worcester, the 413. Excuse me. Science and math for me came pretty easy in high school. And I decided, without any experiential learning, without doing anything like this, that I thought I wanted to be a pharmacist. So I ended up going to the University of Rhode Island. And I did not know, being from a small town in Western Mass, what giant classes were all about. Important for you to know what type of class size you like. I went to URI because UMass didn't have a pharmacy program, so it was an in-state type of deal. And I got exposed to these massive classes. And, you know, to show my failures, I almost failed out of school. So my parents, I think I could still feel my mom grabbing the back of my neck when they found out how bad I was doing. At my second year of college, ended up transferring to the Mass College of Pharmacy. So I was going to keep on going down that pharmacy path, thought it was the way to go for me. But once again, no one in my family, no one on my street was a pharmacist. I really didn't know what I was in for. So I progressed most of my way through the pharmacy major without until getting to internships, finding out what being a pharmacist might actually be like. And so I didn't realize what was on the other side of that. And I realized I didn't necessarily want to be a pharmacist, but I really liked the science. I really liked the healthcare thing. So I progressed through, got biochem, but also picked up a business major. So kind of all that tripping and falling along the way, I ended up coming out of college and getting right into pharmaceuticals. And I have done a bunch of different roles for different biotech and pharmaceutical companies over about 15 years. I've sold, I've trained, I've managed, I've done marketing, and I kind of built up some different skill sets. I never stayed in the same job for more than actually 2 years, whether you consider that good or bad, but I always wanted to pick up different skill sets along the way. And where it's brought me to today is all of the things that certainly many of the colleagues at the table do, what many of you may do as far as drug discovery and moving things through. What I do today is I help biotech and pharmaceutical companies figure out what some of these drugs or molecules or devices might be worth and how they would get into the market. So what's really fun is to have an incredible background in science, but if you choose to get into the business side, there are really great and very, very cool opportunities to figure out, well, what will these things be worth in 5 years? And help companies potentially buy them, license them between each other, as well as how do you figure out how to bring something really new and really novel to the market of, say, 2020. Very, very complex, so you get to use a lot of really cool critical thinking skills and what have you. But nonetheless, after all the tripping and falling, I will say that there were a lot of bad times trying to figure out who I wanted to be and how it was going to work out. But I must say, I've certainly, after all this time, figured out that I absolutely love driving to work every day, love what I do, and if it weren't for all of those failures along the way, I probably wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today.
Hello, my name is Adrian Harrington. I also grew up around here. I grew up in Concord. I went to school at a place called Wentworth Institute of Technology, and my background is also not in the sciences. Right on. I ended up at Millipore Corporation, where I currently do product design. So where did I start out? In high school, I was always the kid in the art room. I did quite a bit of art classes. I don't know if there's anyone else here that does that type of thing. But when I decided what I wanted to do or go to college for, I decided it would be something sort of in the arts, creative, but also challenging and technology related. So I decided to go into industrial design. Does anyone here know what industrial design is? crickets. Industrial design is really product design. So it's understanding what the creative side of, or understand the human interaction of products, and really getting into the process of how you get to that product. How do you get to that smartphone? How do you get to the computer that you're carrying? So when I went to school, I studied a lot about human interface and engineering, but also graphic design and how do you make a product look cool. When I got out of school, I had a couple of options. Wentworth has an intern program, so I had 2 internships by the time I had graduated. The first one I decided to do software research, something I knew nothing about. I knew nothing about software, and I decided to take a challenge. And the nice thing about internships is that people tend to take you under their wing and teach you what you need to know. So I highly recommend internships. So the first one was in software research, and the other one was in medical devices. And that was really neat. One thing I really liked about medical device and product development for medical devices was, like you said, it gives you a reason to drive to work in the morning. It makes it really enjoyable to know that what you're working on is going to make a difference somewhere, some point in someone's life. And that I really latched on to. When I graduated college, I had an opportunity to sort of take a chance and continue my education. The one thing that I learned, or that I didn't learn in product design, was about manufacturing. And I realized that that was missing out of the program that I went to. So I sort of took a leap of faith and decided to apply for an internship in China, where I actually moved out there for 6 months and learned about manufacturing and assembly and what it means to do a product transfer and what does it mean to have something made in China. And that was really what I decided was the end of my education, or the beginning of a new career. So when I came back, I had an offer to work at Millipore in product development. And so right now I'm designing products for people like at Amgen. People at Amgen buy our products. I work for Millipore, so we do filtration and bioprocessing equipment. And I'm also continuing my education. I'm actually never stop learning. I'm currently doing my MBA in the evening, which means I'm studying business and administration I'm actually doing it at Babson. So I do that in the evenings, and I do product design during the day. So that's my story.
Thank you. I think we have 5 more minutes, so I wanted to ask, I guess, anybody on the panel that wants to respond to a question that I always like to ask people. At what point in your life did you realize that science was the career path that you wanted to pursue? I think we have a lot of students here today that are trying to decide what to major in college, and it's very important for them to get on the right path because college is so expensive. So if somebody can respond, those 2 mics there are live, so if somebody would like to respond, was it in high school? Did someone make an impact on you? Was it a guidance counselor, a parent? Do you have parents that are scientists? When did you realize that this was a passion of yours?
So I think I realized sometime in high school I enjoyed science class, particularly biology. And, some of the projects that I did, we, made a turkey at home, and then we had the turkey for dinner. I cleaned all the bones out, and I glued the turkey skeleton back together. So things like that. I also decided, my mother was a nurse, and I kind of always liked that side, the biology, and I knew I didn't have the stomach to be a nurse or a doctor, and so this was a good avenue for me.
David? David Wagner, you're young, you can remember.
So I probably figured it out when my parents bought a refrigerator and I decided to turn the box into a spaceship. So I knew that I wanted to do something in science from a pretty young age, but I had no idea what. I had a great biology teacher in high school, and he taught me some things that I thought were really cool. And I ended up applying to be a biology major at BC. And I don't think it was until I had taken a lab class at BC that I realized that I really want to work in a lab, and yes, this is for me. I don't need to change majors or try to find another school quick. But I think that's when I actually decided that I wanted to stay in the sciences and actually do it for a living.
Do any of you have questions? Questions? Okay, I have one more question. What aspirations do you have for the future? I don't think that one of the things that I want students here to understand is the impact that what you do every day makes a difference on in the world, in the world that we live in. I don't know if you kids have seen what's going on in Haiti right now with cholera, but there is a vaccination for that. Had we not had that vaccination, there would be millions and millions of people dead. And so the kind of impact you can have in this industry, I think, is really, really important for you to understand, that you can make a difference in the world. So if anybody would like to respond to that comment, I would truly appreciate what it is you're doing and working on, and what is it that you're trying to accomplish in your daily work.
So I work in a mostly oncology therapeutic area, so working with cancer and cancer cells. And I think one of my other aspirations is also, being involved in events like this and promoting science, for kids in the area of Massachusetts to really pursue science and excel in science, because it's a lot of fun. You're constantly learning new things, and it really is a great discipline to pursue.
If I could grab that. Very kind, thank you. Okay, so real passionate about the innovation sector with biotech and pharma. And as far as the future is concerned, and things that I want to do and what I would like to see happen, I've got to tell you, if you have an interest in getting into the device, diagnostic, pharma, biotech, it's such an amazing sector. So one thing that I do each day is help understand the market and what companies are trying to do. I mean, these organizations that you could become a part of are really dedicated to helping people and helping patients, and the sector is fraught with failure. And what I do is I help these companies raise money for essentially programs that may likely fail. And that's hard. And people don't want to, would you want to lend money to something that's got a high chance of failure? Probably not. But if you thought that if it did work out, there's such incredible opportunity on the other side of it, it might hit your passions. So the people inside these companies have to be extremely passionate. So if you're working on a molecule and it fails, you don't want to feel like, well, you just threw the last few years of your life away career-wise because the program failed. Being very, very dedicated and very, very passionate that you could have an incredible breakthrough that could change the lives of hundreds of people with a rare disease or millions of folks with obesity. That stuff is really amazing. So I feel that if some people in the press and otherwise have played down the role and the importance of biotech, pharma, and device, I think that's a shame, because some of the best people I've ever met, and I think some of the most important work that's going out there that can be churned out in this particular country is just some amazing stuff. And I would be proud of you to see in that sort of industry. It's great work, and it's critically important to I think to mankind.
Okay, I think we'll probably wrap it up. I thank you very much for your time. I'm sorry that we had to cut this a little bit short. Does anyone have any questions? Speak now. Speak up. Okay. All right, well, let's have a round of applause for our presenters. Thank you very much.